Hey guys, this is Pastor Big Al. It is Friday, October 2nd, 2020, and I have just a short message for you. But before I get to that, on this date in history, 2005, on October 2nd, I began my ministry right here in Wichita Falls. So I have technically been in Wichita Falls in ministry for 15 years today. Now, some would compare a pastoral church relationship to a marriage. And so if that's the case, then today is our 15th anniversary. So happy anniversary. I just wanted to kind of share that with you today. Now, the second thing I wanted to share with you is, like I said, it's October 2nd. It is Friday. Now, in Israel, the sun has already set, and so they have already began their Saturday, their Shabbat, their Sabbath day. But it's a very special one this year because it's also the beginning of the Feast of Booths. They call it Sukkot. And it's a very important holiday in Israel. And there I have it on the little calendar for you there that we are in the 7th month. And it's the 15th day of the 7th month. And for us, it's October 2nd. And so just wanted to kind of show you that so where you can see. But as you might remember, as I've shared with you before, that Israel is in lockdown. They are in lockdown because of the coronavirus. The COVID-19 is spreading quite rapidly through there. And so they've been on lockdown for 2 weeks now. That lockdown prevented them from celebrating the Feast of Trumpets. That lockdown prevented them from celebrating Yom Kippur, or the Day of Atonement. And now it will prevent them from celebrating this holiday, very special holiday, called Sukkot, or the Feast of Booths, Feast of Tabernacles. Because the Feast of Tabernacles or Feast of Booths, Sukkot, because it's so important to the people of Israel, it finds its way throughout the Bible. And there are some very prophetic, amazing scriptures that deal with this. And I'm going to share those with you Sunday night. But there's something that I wanted to share with you today as we begin this week. Okay, as we begin this week. It's found in Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 16 and 17. And here's what it says. 3 times a year, all your males shall appear before the Lord your God at the place that he will choose, at the Feast of Unleavened Bread, at the Feast of Weeks, and at the Feast of Booths. They shall not appear before the Lord empty-handed. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Lord your God that he has given you. So as I told you, the Feast of Booths is important, or Tabernacles, or Sukkot. It's important because it's one of only 3 festivals in the year that all the males from the people of Israel had to appear at Jerusalem. They had to go there. And so for Israel to be on lockdown, completely shut down, it takes away one of those events. And I also remember in March, Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, they were also on curfew and lockdown. So to have 2 of the 3 events that the nation of Israel is on lockdown, I think that's a big deal. I think it's prophetic, spiritually a big deal. But in this instance, the scripture that I want to share with you is how they were required not only to be there those 3 event days, weeks, but they were to bring something. They were never to appear empty-handed. And I want us to reflect on that. I want us to think about that. Do we ever come to God without bringing him something? Do we ever just come to God in order to get something from God? Maybe it's through our prayer requests. And we're always asking God for something, maybe asking God for healing, or asking God for provision, or asking God to protect us, or asking God to do a miracle. We're always seems to want to get something from God. The only reason we come is to get something from God. But in these instances, when they are required to come to God, they were required to come with something. They weren't supposed to come empty-handed. They weren't supposed to have nothing to give to God. And so the big question is, well, what can I give God? I mean, who am I that I would have anything to give to God? Well, verse 17 answers that. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Lord your God that he has given you. So this is what I want us to do as we begin this season, this time of year. I want us to look back over the last 9 months. 2020 has not been the greatest year for a lot of people, but surely we can look back over these last 9 months and find something that God has blessed us. Find something where we can give God thanks and give God praise. And so as we begin this season, as Israel begins the season of Sukkot, as we begin October, getting ready to enter into the fall season, as we enter into this time, let us reflect on what God has blessed us with, what God has given, how God has taken care of, how God has healed, how God has delivered, how God has provided, how God has walked with us through whatever we've had to go through. And let's come before God mindful and thankful. So that's really what I wanted to share with you. Like I said, Sukkot and has a lot more that it speaks to us in the Bible, and I'm going to share a lot more come Sunday night on this. But just to kind of whet your appetite, just this idea that we're not supposed to come empty-handed. We're supposed to bring something to the table. And what can we give? Well, let's look back at what God has given us. And let's make sure that we bless God in that way. So thank you guys so much for watching my videos today. I pray that y'all have a blessed night.